On today's episode, we count down the top 10 movies in the MCU and start our own Infinity War Deadpool. Deadpoll. What is up, guys? Welcome to What We Watch. I am Matt. Thank you for joining us for Infinity War week. Infinity War will be out in less than 48 hours, and we are so excited to break it down for you. But leading up to that, we've done a couple of episodes. One, we did our predictions for what we think is going to happen in Infinity War, and we counted down 18 through 11 in the rankings of the MCU. And today, we are going to be taking a look at 10 through the number one movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So let's get going. At number 10, we have SpiderMan Homecoming, one of the more recent movies, and it's a great look at what a really good Spider-Man would be. Very quippy and a great Peter Parker. My biggest complaint about this movie was the fact that it almost felt a little bit more like they pushed Iron Man because they weren't sure if Spider-Man could support the movie by himself. But it was a really good look at Iron Man in more of a parental role, and we got to see Vulture, which is one of the better Marvel villains that we've seen in these movies. At number 9, we have Captain America Civil War. Now, most people will have this a little bit higher on their list because it's almost like its own Avengers movie with how many cameos and other Avengers that we have in this film. But the biggest thing for me was it boiled down to really cool airport scene, but at the end of the day, I didn't think much happened. We were expecting this to almost be like how Infinity War is expected to be now, where there's going to be death and destruction and all of this stuff just hitting the fan finally, and all of this division. But at the end of the day, there wasn't really much. There was a lot of misunderstandings and people choosing sides, but at the end of the day, they kind of are still on the same side. They have they have these differences in mindset and how things should go, but they're still kind of buddies. There's no massive death or there's no big emotional punch that happens. Yes, the big twist about the Stark's death was really cool, but there was no collateral damage, and I was just found lacking and wanting more to give me that emotional punch in this movie. Really great movie, really great sequences, and Captain America films typically are very good when it comes to the action side, but I was just leaving the theater wanting a little bit more. At number 8, we have the Avengers, and that's just because I remember being in my dorm room talking with my friends about the idea of an Avengers movie, and just the concept was mind-blowing, and the fact that they were able to pull it off, to have all these movies lead up to this team-up, and it still be really, really good, was amazing. It was just so cool to see these characters finally team up and beat up the bad guys. At number 7, we have Iron Man, the one that kicked it off. Honestly, I was not a huge Iron Man fan before this movie came out, but now he's sort of like the godfather of the MCU. You cannot have all these other movies if Iron Man does not do well. And it still stands up. It's still a really great story arc and a really great character where we get to see someone who is full of himself, and by the end of the movie, is still full of himself, but has changed enough to become the hero that we need him to be. At number 6, we have Avengers Age of Ultron. Most people actually put this one pretty low on their list, and they're just not a huge fan of the movie. I really enjoyed it. I thought that Ultron as a villain probably could have been better, and maybe there was a lot of wasted opportunity there, but just to see some of the fight scenes and see a little bit of that tension start developing inside of these characters was really neat to see. We get the introduction of Vision, and it kind of took it to the next level. In my opinion, it was really neat to see just because it wasn't just, okay, the Avengers are coming together, it's a one-time cool thing, but it showed us that this is something that can carry on and continue even past just that first nostalgia, seeing all of our heroes unite for one time. At number 5, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Once again, has a great soundtrack, once again, is hilarious, and we even get a really cool villain, and we get to see this idea of what it means to be a good friend, a good father, a good son, and it's really great just to enjoy. It's a fun film. I found myself laughing and being entertained the whole time. It's always good to see the Guardians in another adventure. Once again, it could not really live up to the first one, but that's just because there's a very high bar to be reached there, but I really did enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. At number 4, we have Thor Ragnarok. This one was great because they kind of just threw it all at the wall. They let Thor be the egotistic, kind of out of place guy that he was in the first movie, but he was just so much fun. He was so comfortable with who he was, but then could still kick some butt and be serious when needed. Hela was a great villain, and we get to see Loki also by his side. It was just a fun ride from start to finish, had this really cool, once again, psychedelic feel, and it almost was like if you put Thor with the Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit early. It was great, it had the laughs, I was laughing, I was entertained, and it really set us up very well to go into Infinity War. At number 3, we have Black Panther. This one was great because it was able to tell a story that we've wanted to hear for a long time and do it incredibly well. This might be one of the best origin movies, if you would probably compare it close to even an Iron Man. It was so good, we got so much history, we got so much backstory out of a character that not a lot of people knew about. I was really entertained by the whole thing, and Killmonger is probably one of the best villains that Marvel has put out. Not just because he's powerful, not because he's super strong or could destroy a bunch of people, but what makes him interesting was that I cared about him as a character, that he wasn't just some big diabolical bad guy, but just the fact that I understood his motives, and not that I wanted him to win, but I understood where he was coming from. And to see that good versus evil, and that evil kind of be that gray area, understanding that the good almost created the evil, was really entertaining to watch. At number 2, we have Captain America, the Winter Soldier. This one is great because it's almost like a James Bond action flick, Jason Bourne kind of film, put in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It really pushes us forward, like past just being a good superhero movie and into just being a good movie. It reminds me a lot, not to the level that it took it, but it reminds me a lot of The Dark Knight, where you have this gritty realism and it kind of brings our characters into this realistic light where it's not all just fun and games, but it's gritty warfare, and we get to see this struggle with Captain America and what he has to do and the choices that he has to make. It's really exciting, and it actually, for me, was this tonal switch of just fun superhero movie and this cosmic bad guy versus real life stuff that these people had to deal with. And the number 1 MCU movie for me is Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's funny because it's actually for the exact opposite reason that I loved Winter Soldier. And the reason was, it was just fun. This was probably the first movie in a long time where I bought the soundtrack. Like, I have the CD just because the songs are so good, the characters are so rich, the worlds are so incredible. My one flaw is Ronan the Accuser is kind of just there to be there. He can kind of be replaced with whoever you want him to be replaced with. But once again, I think that it's one of the movies that sets up the importance of the Infinity Stones, which, as we can see going into Infinity War, is super important. And it's one of the first films to really dive into the lore of what that means and kind of set into motion that this is going to be a cosmic thing that we're going to be dealing with, and kind of kicks off that whole process of Infinity War, and has the balance of creating characters that I really want to see succeed and work together, while at the same time, it was just a fun ride. I enjoy it every time I watch it. The music is great, the acting is great, the character development is great, the story arcs are great. Everything about it is just so good, and I can watch it over and over. So Guardians of the Galaxy is my number 1 MCU movie right now. Well, that is it, the total list, numbers 18 through number 1. What do you guys think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Where would you have moved stuff around? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm so excited to hear what you guys have to say. So Infinity War comes out this Friday, and I will have my review up early Friday morning, so be sure to check back. It will be completely spoiler-free. You won't have to worry about that. We'll talk about a little bit of spoiler talk on Monday, but this Friday, spoiler-free if you're just curious, my thoughts before you go this weekend and check out the movie for yourself. But we're going to have a little bit of fun before the movie comes out, and we are going to have a Deadpoll. What we're going to be doing is on our social media links, we are going to be posting all of the characters that we can possibly think of in the MCU, and we are going to ask, who do you guys think is gonna die? I know that's super morbid, but that's the big question going into these movies. So it's gonna be simple. Does this person live? Does this person die? And we're gonna just see who's right, who's wrong, and if together we can guess who is going to be still standing once we get to Ant-Man and Wasp, which is the movie that comes out after Infinity War. So be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and vote in all of these different polls just to see if you can guess it right, and then be sure to brag after you see the movie. Come on back and brag and be like, I told you so, or how could they possibly get rid of that person? So make sure you're following us on all of our social media so you can enjoy the fun and that. And if for some reason you can't wait until Friday morning to see what I had to think, make sure you follow me on Stardust. Stardust, if you don't know, is an app that's kind of like a mix of Instagram and Snapchat and YouTube, but all for movies and TV. It's a great chance for you to share your reactions to TV shows, movies, and cool events that are going on. I love to post my instant reactions that are 30 seconds or less, and just my first initial responses to new movies and shows that come out. If you go ahead and follow me, we're actually doing a giveaway where we're giving away a Fandango gift card. So if you want to see Avengers 3, 4, 5 times but don't want to shovel out the cash, be sure to follow me. Username was when you download the app as your first follow. And let me know what you thought of Avengers Infinity War and all of these movies in the MCU that we've been talking about. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed our rankings, and if you didn't, let us know where we got it wrong. Once again, I am Matt. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to us on this channel. We are so thankful when you guys do that. It really does help us out. Well, I'm Matt, and I am so excited. I will see you guys on Friday to talk about Avengers Infinity War. See you then.